Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you are doing well. September, off and running. Can you believe it? I know. We've had some nice little September weather to get things started though here too, which I like. So it's kind of extending some summers, I think. Fall feel, but summer, Hope you're all doing well. Anyways, with September, we bring you the kids back to school. I know a lot of parents are rejoicing. A lot of kids are too. Kids love school, don't they? Jim Antonelli, the Dean of Students in Newburyport. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, it's been what? Would we go a full year without having you on?
Yeah, we started last year when I first came on to Newburyport.
Was it right around this time?
Yeah, it was, actually.
Okay. So, all right, so we're back again. Very good. Always one of our best dressed guests on the show. I always appreciate that. Beginning of the school year, not only, so you get your Dean of Students role, which we talked a lot about last time. You, at the moment, are currently the interim athletic director as well.
Yes, sir, I am. Yeah.
You're a busy man.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's going great.
Yeah.
I really feel blessed to be in another school system that just really values education and co-curriculars for students. It's just amazing. I was in Westford for almost 30 years.
Yep.
Been involved with sports my entire life. Ended up as principal for the last 16 years in Westford, and then came here last year and fell in love. Great people, great community. So supportive, lots of traditions, so it's wonderful.
I know you're very happy with your Dean of Students role. I asked you off the air if you're interested in being the head AD. You said, no, I'm good. We're gonna find somebody else. Is that search like an ongoing search right now?
So from what I understand, talking with Principal Wolf, he probably will start after the holiday, Christmas holiday.
All right.
Pull together some folks who would be interested in being part of the committee. I would suspect community members, teachers, coaches, students, and then myself, I'll be part of the process as well with the school principal. So it should be a good search.
A lot of voices heard for this thing, huh?
I think I think they're going to get quite a draw.
Yeah.
I really do. Newburyport's very much a sports community.
Yes.
70% of our students participate in sports.
Yeah.
So I think, as I said to Andy, we're going to get a good draw of people that are going to come for this position. And
a good percent of that 70% ends up being champions too. I mean, they've won some titles here over the years.
Oh, I'm looking for shelving because we have so many plaques from the MIAA. I don't know where to put them.
Is that true?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, it's just crazy with the number of championship teams that these student athletes have fulfilled and accomplished. It's awesome.
What every athletic director I used to have all of them come through, and essentially used to know all of them on a first-hand basis. Not so much anymore, but everybody I talked to say, I know it's not an easy job. It's a lot that goes to it. It's not just showing up to the field and applauding the teams during a nice run. It's buses, it's scheduling, it's all this stuff. You got your hands on all this now?
So, huge shout out to some people. First of all, the superintendent's vision of slowing the process down to hire a new person.
Okay.
But while hiring me and bringing me on board, based on my experience, I've hired 5 athletic directors, work with athletic directors very closely. So, he's allowed me to hire an assistant, which is great.
Okay.
So I have a graduate from NHS, Richard Pace,
all right,
who's going to help me out in the fall.
Yep.
I have 2 folks in the winter right now. Amy Heath, who's a longtime teacher, physical education teacher at Newburyport High School, and then Jade Medeiros, who's a student.
I remember him.
Actually was Amy Heath's student.
Okay.
Great young man. And so he's, most of these folks are looking to pursue administrative positions. Amy maybe not because she's towards the end of her career, but they just do a lot with sports.
Yeah.
So that piece has been great. And then my administrative assistant, Kathy Cutter, when I tell you salt of the earth and just a person who works tremendously hard.
Yeah.
She does buses, referees, programs connected to the MIAA. She's the backbone.
Yeah.
She's absolutely the backbone. And without her, I wouldn't have taken the position, quite honestly. Because, but she's just got a wealth of knowledge. We check in every single morning. We have some laughs. We have our headaches. But, it's about scheduling. It's about having referees, buses, and kids.
Yeah.
You really think about it and you drill it down.
Yeah.
But all of those things can create havoc. If
it can be a tough puzzle.
Show up, absolutely. Get a few days of rain and you're scrambling.
Yeah.
Or some snow. And we live in a crazy place. Right?
How has that referee shortage? Has it gotten better? I know it's been rough for the last few years.
God bless the referees because they've hung in there. And it's a challenging role.
Yeah.
So they're staying strong. Our athletic directors are trying to be very, very supportive to make sure that we're dealing with the unruly spectator.
Yeah.
To support them. I won't tolerate it. So.
It's funny. It's amazing. I used to do the Little League umpiring back in the day.
Yeah.
I did many years of it.
Me too.
And it's intense. It's in a lot of ways, it's more intense than like Babe Ruth. It kind of calms down when you get to that next level almost. But it's funny. I was in Maine for the Labor Day weekend, and I bumped into the guy that used to hire me. He was like the vice president of the Little League in Danvers back in the day. Yeah. And so naturally, we're talking about Little League stories. I remember when you were ready to throw that guy out in the third. And I never threw anybody out. I was close. I do remember the time he's talking about. But we were talking about the kind of wildness of Little League. And he's like, even today, man, I was at my, I guess he has somebody in the family now playing Little League, and he had got to go back for it this year. And he goes, I think it's gotten worse, man. He's like, those parents, they work those kids, those umpires. And I remember it. It was not an easy job.
Well, I think what's happened, Drew, is that people are really specialized now.
Yeah.
Right? So with the AAU sports, so they might put, softball, their student athlete in softball, fall, winter, and spring.
Yeah.
And then throughout the summer. I personally like the student athlete to be diverse, right? And so, play field hockey, play softball, play, tennis or swim. You're using a variety of muscles, and that was the old kind of rule.
Yeah.
But it's kind of switched, and it's switched to students just utilizing, throwing all year round.
Yeah.
Right? Baseball or softball or football or whatever. I like to see them use a variety of sports.
It's switched at the parent level, I think. But if you talk to a lot of college athletic directors, and I mean, they a lot of them they want to see that you played other sports.
Oh, yeah,
they want to see that you were able to be a leader for different teams, different personalities. That's.
And they don't want you once you sign, they don't want you taken off a sport. If you're signing for, lacrosse and you're coming, whatever sport it is. Or football in the fall, they want you to play football. Maybe you signed up for, to sign with them in the spring for lacrosse. But they want you playing football.
Right.
They want you playing basketball, right?
Yeah.
That's that athlete that goes there and then finish up in lacrosse. I mean, they don't want you taking off seasons. They want you to stay in shape.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. Yeah, that's almost like a full-time job at that point when you're going to play at a lot of those colleges, right?
Sure.
But yeah, man, it is a different world. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the umpires and the referees of the world. It does make you. I always said that was like my version of how they say everybody should be like a waiter or a bartender at some point because you learn how to tip and all that. I always say, what? I never did that, but I did umpire, and it gave me respect for officials for the rest of the day. That was my version of that. That's right. I always try to say when I see an umpire leave the field or something, I always try to tell him good job and all that because you remember that stuff, There's some rough ones.
It's good to feel appreciated, whether it is a bartender or a waitress, even yelling into the chef after a good meal, right? I got a good buddy of mine that does that every time.
Yeah.
He goes to Lobster Land up in Gloucester, and he says, every time I go in there, Jimmy, I yell into the chefs, hey, great job, and they all laugh and they appreciate it,
Yeah, that's a great spot.
People like to be appreciated. Oh, they eat Lobster Land's. It's always packed.
So he's the chef at Lobster Land?
No, he just goes in.
Oh, he goes in. Sorry,
but he always walks into the kitchen after and yells at the guys and says, great meal today, and they all laugh and they appreciate it and they recognize him.
Gotcha. A friend of mine's playing, you've met him before, Alex Anthony. I saw him, he's playing a Lobster Land gig these days.
Yeah.
He said he loves it.
Very talented young man.
Yeah, so are you on Plum Island
yes,
right now?
Yeah.
That's right. I remember we were talking
address,
about that.
No
address, though. Very good. I remember we actually, what was that, this Thanksgiving, we were at the same little function and we were watching some live music together. That was a lot of fun. Exactly. And I didn't even realize it was, I had known that they had moved on to a new athletic director. I was like, all right, yeah, they're going to put me in touch. This person will call me. And then I'm halfway through the conversation with Jim. And oh, it's you. I didn't realize that. Okay. You have a different vision in your head sometimes if they hired outside or whatever. But no. All right. Jim Antonelli joining us, the Dean of Students here in Newburyport, and now the interim athletic director here for a little while too. And it is kind of that time of year where the sports are, in a lot of ways, I always felt this, right? You get back to school, but the sports are always that's sometimes the quickest thing to take off because it's like the schedule just hits you, School starts, boom, game one,
Football opened up the 16th of August. Right?
Crazy.
they had some pre-days to condition.
Yeah.
And then basically the week after, it's everybody's rolling.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
I always thought that was like an advantage for the kids getting back into school when you're like hanging out with all their, you got immediate friends and like it's camaraderie already, and it kind of helps ease you in. I always thought that was a benefit of the spring sport. Fall sport. Sorry,
any sports.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, so I don't know. How's the football team looking?
They look solid. I went to the scrimmage on Friday night. We have Colin Fuller at quarterback right now. He's doing a great job. The receivers look good. The line looks good. So, yeah.
I'm calling one of these games coming up. I'm doing a Friday night in September game here for the station.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
great.
I can figure
the Bedford Buccaneers at home, perhaps?
I don't know. Maeve,
13th?
Give me a thumbs up if it's better. I get a Maeve for everything. She's got the answers to all my questions.
That's my old league. That's the Dual County League.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
tough league?
Yeah. Very tough league. Very, very competitive, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So who else is in that league?
For Dual County League, that was Lincoln Sudbury, Acton Boxborough, Westford Academy, Newton South, Bedford. Yep. We got some large and small.
Yeah, some good teams there. What's the biggest difference? Because you said you 30 years out there. What's the biggest difference from the Newburyport school system?
Size of the school.
Yeah.
Westford Academy, when I left, was about 1,580. It was up to 1,800 at one point, so we were really packed. The building was built for 1,800. Here, it's about 780 students, so it's easier to know more names.
Sure.
Which is great, and that's what I kind of sensed when I was towards the latter half of my career at Westford. It was just getting more and more difficult to recognize students and to be closer to them. And so getting back into this role, Dean of Students, goes back to my roots. And as athletic director, I feel like I have that connection with students and student athletes. So it's really, really nice.
Yeah, I knew from the first moment I met you, you're a people person. So you're a perfect intern guy. If you're trying to get the bridge to somebody else, you're like the perfect guy to call on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
They could call on you for anything, I think. Interim superintendent if they want. Just saying.
He's just kidding, Sean.
Yeah, he's just kidding. And thank you for putting us in touch again, Sean. That was because that's what I reached out to. I said, you guys got some changes over there. I need some people in here. So here we go. So we talked a little bit about the football team, though. You got any other things you want to highlight as far as sports go?
Well, I want to highlight the fact that we've got a really veteran set of coaches in the fall that have been very, very collaborative and supportive of me. It's great. They're just they manage their teams well.
Wait, you're going to highlight the people that like you? No. Big props to all of them.
I'm very, very respectful.
Yeah.
And we'll get through most of the fall and then have a winter coaches meeting.
A lot of turnover with coaches at Newburyport. It seems like everywhere else it's like every year or two.
We don't have to hire anybody.
Nobody.
Maybe a middle school person.
That used to happen. That used to be more the norm. That is not so much the norm in 2024.
Yeah.
Schools are flipping through coaches like crazy these days.
I got to do a little check on the winter. I think we're pretty rock solid for the winter. I think we had a JV basketball coach, but I believe we hired that. And then the spring looks pretty good. So people, again, when you build a sports community, and I want to give a shout out to our strength coach, Paul Yameen, who's our hockey coach.
Sure, yeah.
You should see the student athletes, but not only student athletes, Drew. This is open to any student that wants to participate in Fitness for Life.
Yeah.
The weight room that was provided by the NEF, Newburyport Education Foundation, is second to none. It's like a college weight room. When I walked in and saw that as a dean of students last year, my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah.
Our weight room, my previous high school, which is a pretty athletic facility, pretty athletic institution, was a quarter the size of this place.
Sure, yeah.
So NEF funds this facility, which is unbelievable. So the kids come in, student athletes come in, and what happens is, a lot of student athletes will prepare over the summer, which our students do. These kids continue with it, right? So game 5, 6, 7, they still got endurance. They still have strength. That's why you're getting championships.
Yeah.
These kids are committed. These student athletes are strong. And I will, again, shout out to Coach Yumeen and others that support the healthy lifestyles. We have a bunch of coaches that provided opportunities over the summer in that blistering hot weather. They were out there giving every student athlete or any student, you didn't have to be a student athlete, just if you wanted to get in shape, you were welcome to come.
No doubt. Yeah, Paul, he's no secret. He's a friend of this show. He's a friend of mine. We used to call the hockey games I used to call every hockey game. That was my introduction to Newburyport here.
Wow.
Was if that Clippers bus went out to Westford, Springfield, wherever, we were following and calling the games. That's what I did out of college. So
quite a program.
Funny. It is quite a program, and he does a great job. I've been in that weight room too, and you're right. It's fantastic, and so many kids come through here, and they say, lifting was never really a big part of my life. I wasn't like a daily workout guy. And, he really kind of taught us the fundamentals of like, just get into that routine, make it a part of your life. And then it's like, I can't think, so many kids tell me they can't go a day without it now. Right. It's like, and then, which is, adults try to do that too, right? We're all looking for a good exercise routine. Yeah. So,
imagine being able to do that during the school day, right?
Yeah.
When you need to fill your fitness requirement or your physical education requirement, and he's running you through a program. Yeah. You're getting it during the school day, and you're done. Right?
It really should be.
And getting credit.
Right? I think back to my school days, and obviously schools progress over years, and I'm 37 now, so I'm many years out of high school, but there's so many things I look back on and I say, I wish like I spent more time on that. That's like a practical life thing that I wish I had, Stupid. I mean, I still see people that go out to dinner that can't leave a tip, they got to go to their calculator and they don't know what the right amount is. It's older adults that just never went through it. Like that would have been a practical thing to learn, in school. But anyways, I think that's a very cool thing.
Well, they always talk about personal finance, right? It's always something that's at the state level, and I believe in it wholeheartedly. That really every student that leaves any high school should have a personal finance. Just a quarter. A taste of it, so you know how to, finance a loan. What kind of insurance you need, renter's insurance versus car insurance, those kinds of things. They're not hard things. How to write a check. I mean, how many kids? Who can write a check today? Yeah. Although checks are moving away, most of everything's done like online now. Today, I heard like 30% of our population uses checks now. That's it.
But I remember the first check I wrote, and I had to ask my parents. I was like, "Wait, what do you do?"
Yeah.
They should have taught us this, right?
Sign the back. For
yeah,
what?
yeah. Endorse. Okay,
Endorse.
Sure. But I mean, that's stuff that it's interesting. Is Paul Yameen over the hockey loss yet from last winter? I don't know if you've had to console him at all, but
we've had a couple talks.
He was a little.
He's doing okay.
He's a little snake bitten, and
he's doing okay.
I thought he might have been over it by the time he came on this show. Turned out he was not. He's going to take a little more time, Drew.
Yeah, it was still stinging, but I think the wound is just about healed.
All right.
And he's getting ready for next season.
On to the next season. Very good. The coach is like that. He's been around forever. He's coached all these great programs. It must be, whether you're a new guy in the job or an old-time athletic director, it just must be comforting, like, to have that stability, I mean, I guess that's the word, right? Yeah. Stability. And other programs look at it, too. I'm like, it's a good program. They've always had a good program, and it's stable. That must be a comforting feeling for you.
Oh, absolutely. You have somebody that's established a great a set of expectations for his student athletes. And people, he has such a level of respect from everybody. And even last year's dean of students, I mean, I wasn't dealing with, issues with the boys hockey team, the men's hockey team. It was, he just makes sure that he's surrounded by good people. He provides a quality product. He holds the kids accountable, but has fun with them.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to my coaches this fall. I said, you know what? One of the things you want to remember is that kids hear everything that you say.
Yeah.
They're extremely impressionable.
Sure.
They hang on to every word.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say something to them, be careful, right? And make sure it's constructive, supportive, a little bit of humor. Stay away from the sarcasm. Sarcasm, only certain people can deliver that in a way that's maybe comforting. Most of the time it's biting. And it's got negative connotations.
Especially with the teenagers just receiving it. Sometimes it's on the receiver, too, and they might just take it the wrong way,
As
right?
principal, I said the same thing, to my faculty. I said, just be careful of your words.
Yeah.
Because these students are so impressionable, and you can say something that will, they'll remember 25 years from now.
Yeah.
I remember a few things that were said along the way,
Sure.
And it, kind of bites.
Yeah, I do too. I think everybody does. Yeah,
sure.
Those are impressionable years, as they say, right? I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but yes, I can remember. I get Jim Antonelli joining us. The dean of students role too. I mean, I imagine you're dealing with a lot of that. I remember we talked a good amount about this last time because that was your main role, and you were new coming into this role. But I think did they create that role for you when you came Newburyport?
Well, it was again, we had one associate principal with like 800 students.
Yeah.
We had some attendance issues going on.
Coming out of a tough time, pandemic.
Yeah. And we have a therapeutic learning center, and so just some programs that Superintendent Gallagher wanted to make sure that they were providing the right support.
Sure.
And so when you start to Mike was like drinking water from a fire hose, with all the different things. And there's a lot of underpinnings for our kids at Newburyport. So to be able to come into this role and to support the students, it's been great. And so I think, from what I understand, the role has worked out well.
Yeah.
Sean's been complimentary. The Principal Wolf's been complimentary. So I think my experience as a principal for 16 years has helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then maybe the next person that comes in, I can help them mentor and guide so that they can move into the role.
Do you hope students actually come right to you? I imagine, because if you're in that role here, and I'm at Newburyport High School, it seems like you're an easy guy to talk to. You're pretty down to earth. You might be a good guy to go help me with my problem here at school.
Yep.
Do you hope they come right to you, or is it go through the other channels first? I'm kind of like a last resort sort of thing. Work it out with that teacher.
You know what? Whatever they feel comfortable with.
All right.
My door's always open, and so whatever strategy they feel might work for them. Coming to an administrator sometimes can be a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Even though I try to be approachable and smile and
Yep.
communicate and fist pump and do all those things to try and make sure they. But I was an unknown entity last year, right? So nobody knew me coming in, and it took me some time just to go around and sit at the tables and high five some kids and let them know that I don't bite.
Yeah.
And so that's worked. I mean, I've created some great relationships with students, and I think dug out of some serious situations to help the families. But it's about communication. It's about reaching out to the parents, the caregivers. It's about closing the door and having the guidance counselor there and trying to talk the student through a crisis. And but I found the parents to be parents and caregivers to be very, very supportive. When the phone call went home, it's Mr. Antonelli, if you feel this is necessary, then that's what you have to do. We understand. Thank you for your support. I'd follow up with them. Your student came in. We talked about this. They did have an office detention, but I think they learned something from it, and I got a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, not too much pushback, because that can happen too, of course, with parents and don't think their kids can do anything wrong, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've ran into that over the years at some point.
A few times.
Well, that's great. It's good. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't still be doing this if you didn't still find that to be rewarding, that connection with kids. And
well, again, stepping back, Drew, into this position has afforded me the opportunity to do more with students, right?
Yeah.
So, Andy, Principal Wolf, has a lot to do with curriculum and Portrait of the Graduate, which is really connected with students as well. But I'm on the ground level. I'm in the CAF every single day, doing lunch duty.
Yeah.
Now more out in the sports fields, even though I tried to do as much as I could last year. But now it's part of my role.
Yeah.
So it's nice to make the connections.
There is something super rewarding about that. Like I still do. Like I teach a little tennis in my spare time. I used to run the program in Danvers, and I could play a little back in the day. And I still teach a little bit. And like somebody asked me recently, it's like you're so busy with all the radio stuff and all that. Like why are you running off to a tennis court? And I was like, most of it's for me, I think. Like, I like getting outside and just working with the kids, and like it's for me. It's a particular sport, tennis, that I like to see. I know it, so I know the progression, and I can see improvements, and that's rewarding to me. I don't know. It's rewarding seeing a kid go from a kid with no tennis strokes to a kid that's serving and volleying, and look at that, he's playing.
Progressions, right?
I don't know. It is something. I don't know. It's something to that. I don't know. I guess not everybody needs it in their life, but I guess I do.
So cathartic, right?
It is cathartic. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. And you're right. Kids remember that stuff too at those ages. Like I was just, as we were talking about coaches, some of my biggest mentors weren't necessarily teachers in the classroom. Some of that stuff did happen on the baseball field, or I saw some bad coaches too. You remember the bad coaches too, but I mostly remember the good ones. And some of those good coaches can stick with you. Sometimes good coaches are also good teachers in the school, which is always nice, but you remember those messages forever.
Well, that leads me into a person that's had a huge impact on my life. There's two people. One I think I shared with you last time was my former teacher, but he was the hockey coach in Westford, started the program, Bill Cody.
Okay,
and he's been like a second dad to me.
Oh, wow.
He's mentored me through everything, from my marriage to my annuities to to where I progressed as a dean of students to assistant principal to principal, and so we still spend a lot of time together. He's in his mid-80s, and I go over and I have dinner with him and his wife. We cook together. It's awesome. I just love him. He calls me number 4. He's got 3 boys, so I'm number 4.
Oh, beautiful.
And then the other guy, Mike Parent, who was my football coach back in the day when I was in football in from 1982 to 1985. But Mike was just had a huge impact on my life. He ended up being, we ended up working together as Dean of Students. So I was his player.
Okay.
And he actually drove me, Drew, to Springfield College
wow.
back in the day when I was 16, 17 years old. My parents couldn't take time off of work, but he drove me out there where I had my interview for football out at Springfield College. Didn't end up going there, but picked up lunch for me, drove me home. And to this day, we're best of friends. He retired about 7 or 8 years ago as a dean of students. But then we came back just before he retired, and we took over the baseball team, him and I. So we coached. I was coaching first base. He was the head coach. And he's still coaching. And he's 10 years older than me, and he's just had a huge impact on my life.
No kidding.
He's a mentor and a friend. Yeah.
Don't forget those guys, right?
Yeah.
that's a great story. I don't know. Did we talk about your? I don't think I knew you went on and played college ball last time.
I did. I went to play out UMass Lowell for a couple of years.
Nice.
And then actually left with some injuries and went on to coach at Westford Academy back in 1989.
Okay.
So that was my introduction to athletics at the high school level on the other side, right? Coaching.
Gotcha.
So I had
was football the big sport in like high school? Or was that your coach?
I was football, wrestling. I had an opportunity to be on 2 terrific teams, state championship teams. So it was a great high school career for me. And then the people that I coached in 1989, one's the chief of police right now in Westford, Mark Chambers. One's my banker, Ryan Dunn from Enterprise Bank and Trust. And I had him on my fishing boat a couple weeks ago. We were out fishing. I mean, we've been best of friends for how many years, right? 88 to now. So special relationships.
That is great.
Yeah.
Are you running through Paul Yameen's training in there? You keep yourself in great shape over there.
I'm going over to off of Graff Road. I go over to what's it called? Vanguard.
Okay.
Vanguard, yeah. So I do my little more. It's 24 hours. I can go whenever I want. So I can't sleep some night. I just get up and go over there. And
is that right? Good for you, man. Oh, better man than me. Yeah, that's good.
I'm trying.
Do you eat well? You look great.
Thank you. I'm trying. I just lost a few pounds, and I'm battling every single day. So
all right.
Try to do something every day.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to eat. That's my thing. I gotta try to eat better. It's when you are busy, that is something that it can catch you, right? You try to get the quick thing on the fly, and sometimes that's not the way to go.
A slice of pizza goes down pretty quick.
I know, right? It's like my favorite.
Then it turns into 2.
Yeah, indeed. You hit me right on there. But maybe a little more organization. That's what I'm working on anyway. That's my post Labor Day plan.
There you go.
We'll see if it works out. I'll keep you all posted. Again, live at Drew's house. Joppa Afternoon Drive. Jim Antonelli in the house, the dean of students at Newburyport. He's also doing in the athletic director's role right now at Newburyport. So he is a busy man. Also, quick shout out to Maeve Power, our producer here, doing a great job. Kept us going all summer. And let me tell you, folks, my summer schedule is an absolute mess, and Maeve could not have made it easier on me as far as adjustments go and all that stuff. So I don't say I appreciate her enough, I don't think, on this show. So thank you, Maeve. So here we are in September, where life maybe gets a little bit more organized. We shall see. Did you have a good summer?
I had a great summer.
Yeah.
It was awesome. The weather was perfect. I mean, you think about last summer.
A lot of rain last summer, man.
Maybe 6 or 7 times, and I was able to fish, and I have some lobster pots, so I go out and do a little lobstering, and nothing wrong with sitting on the beach.
When you saw the Newburyport job open up, did you think of all those things? I can be there. I can be near the water. I can get my.
I've been on Plum Island since I bought a little place in 2008, which I fixed up, and then I saw my new home in 2019, and it's just like I wake up in the mornings, Drew, and I walk out to my front porch, and I start my day with a coffee, looking at the sun.
Yeah, that's living.
If it gets better, I don't know, but I love it. And I also like to just say, with when I saw this job, I didn't know the community, but the community has really embraced me very, very nicely, from the students to the parents. And I just, again, feel blessed to be in another great school system that appreciates education, sports, co-curriculars. We got a great co-curricular program for band and for chess club and our sailboat. There's just so many things that happen at the school.
Yeah,
education is appreciated here.
No doubt, man. Well, I think that's a nice way to wrap up the show right there. A nice little high note from Jim Antonelli. I wish you the best here through the school year, through the fall. Hope you guys have a great fall and get off on the right foot. I know you tend to look great for these shows anyway, but I know that suit is on because you have a meeting as well, and not just my show. So I should let you get off to that and back to business. It's a busy time of year.
That's it.
Jim, thank you, man. I always appreciate the time.
Likewise, Jim.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it, and that'll do it. There you go, Jim Antonelli. I think a lot of you. Most of you probably know him around these parts anyway, but hopefully you got to know him a little bit more here with this interview, and we'll do it again next time, all right? Live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Peace.